to have Tony Tavares. He's a multifaceted professional whose impressive career spans the worlds of fitness, television, and business. As a two-time Olympian bodybuilder, Arnold sports athlete, and overall universe champion, Tony has dedicated his life to pushing the limits of physical performance and discipline, earning top honors and recognition in the world of competitive bodybuilding. His incredible work ethic and commitment to self-mastery has made him a sought-after speaker for those looking to unlock their own potential in both fitness and life. Are you available for the school year?
I know in 20 years next year I'm supposed to come back anyway, so
What?
I'm here.
Well, if you could maybe just hang out a week or something and walk through the hallways. But in addition to his athletic achievements, Tony is a familiar face on HGTV, where he brought his unique blend of style, expertise, and charisma to home renovation projects. He's helped launch season one of HGTV's No Demo Reno, and as the #1 contractor to start the series. His television appearances and worldwide speaking events, he's inspired millions to embrace their own creativity and take on challenges, whether they're transforming homes, health, or personal lives. 17 years in sales and leadership, 10 years in the roofing industry. He's built a reputation of excellence, innovation, and leadership. And under his direction, his company, Linear Roofing, has thrived, setting new standards for quality customer satisfaction in the roofing space. As a top roofing executive, currently in #1 residential storm re-roofing platform, Stronghouse Solutions in America, Tony has proven that his drive extends far beyond the gym. Considered one of the state's top sales leaders across the U.S., Tony is a living example of how success in multiple domains requires a combination of perseverance, passion, relentless commitment to continuous improvement. You all are alumni. You've seen it. You know, y'all ended up being educators. There's a lot of people that were in that 6th grade classroom that your teacher might have thought, well, I don't know if there's anything going to happen with this child. And what happens? Okay? So you have the power. You have the power to touch every single kid in your classroom. And it's powerful. No matter if they're the best 8 hours of their life are at the schoolhouse, and the 16 hours they're gone could be tough, or vice versa. But you have the power to do that, and that's what I want you to take home from this talk. Known as many as the GOAT, his nickname throughout his journey since graduating right here in Groesbeck. I want to welcome our own GOAT, who is back here where it began, Tony Tavares. Thank you.
Just я потребую the bolt on. I keep it on. I might walk with it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Man, oh man. This was nuts coming back in here. It's been 20 years since I've been back. Just walking in that cafeteria is something else. Brings back so many memories. You know, when Miss Insminger called me about 2 months ago and told me about this event, I was like, sign me up. I gotta be there. I gotta come see where it all began. And then when she told me that the theme was to be a GOAT, I was like, I definitely gotta be there. I gotta be there. What an honor. Takes me back to a saying some of the coaches used to preach here: strength and honor. It still resonates in my soul. One of our sayings when I was growing up as a young Groesbeck GOAT, here rising through the program as an athlete. We will honor those that have built the foundation of this great community with our intention, focus, and commitment to get better here today. Learn a few things so we can apply it and honor those before us and after us with the best school year yet as a collective community. Now, before we get things rolling, I want to make sure that I set the frequency off right in the room, because I'm an energy and a frequency type of guy. So something the coaches used to do with me, we used to do this thing called claps. Are there any coaches that used to work with me back in the past doing, I think I see Coach Turbo over there. I think I see Coach Sloan right there. Wow. When I give the count of 3, I want the entire room to give me 3 claps because we're gonna get in alignment together and unite and be very present over the next 45 minutes, okay? When I get to 3, I just want a simple 3 claps. We're all gonna get on the same page. We're gonna get locked in. All right, you guys, if you mess up, we gotta do it again. All right? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I heard someone right in there. All right, one more time. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic, beautiful. Now, to set the tone off right, we're gonna do a little something else that I do at a lot of my big events. And we're gonna set this frequency on the right intention to start the year with energy. When I get to 3 this time, I want everyone in the room to stand up and for 10 seconds to give the most amount of energy and intention in the room to your partner, to your neighbor, and let them know that you're here and let them know that you're bringing it this year. You are bringing it. I want to see what this room's capable of. All right? I want to see the GOAT energy. Light this room up. So on 3, I want 10 seconds. You can scream, yell, clap, give high fives, you name it. All right, let me see what you got, Groesbeck. On 3. 3, 2, 1. Let's go! Woo! All right, I can dig it. That's that Groesbeck GOAT energy. Love to see it. All right. Now, when I think back, you know, I was a young kid, 9, 10 years old when I moved here from New York to Texas, afraid of the unknown, sad to lose all my friends. And I was welcomed into the community, into the school, into the GOAT family as an outsider. Now looking back, it means a lot. I'm so grateful to return back home in the now, today with all of you. God is good all the time. All the time. Everything happens divinely as it should. I stand here today seeing God's blessing in this miracle moment in time. I went off long ago, half my life ago as a kid, forged through fire, with all the lessons I'd learned, oftentimes the hard way. That name, though, the GOAT, all the while ringing in my ear when I'd face some of life's toughest battles. I look back today, here now with you all, and I can't help but reminisce on all the great memories as a GOAT. What amazing people, leaders, teachers, coaches, I was able to enjoy my time with before my other half of life began. And I think back, I remember, is this one on? This one on? There we go. I remember when I moved here to Groesbeck, it was from another town called Magnolia, out by Houston. It's a bulldog. When we came from New York, we stopped in Magnolia for a year or two, and I became a bulldog. And I remember when my dad and mom told me that we were moving to Groesbeck, I had no clue what Groesbeck was. It was a small little place. I had no idea. I'm thinking, we're going from a bulldog to a goat? I'm like, Dad, come on, could you pick a different mascot? And I'm only 10 at the time, so I don't know much, right? And then he tells me, he says, son, do you know what GOAT means? Do you know what GOAT actually means? That's greatest of all time. That's the best there ever was. That's Jordan. That's Kobe. That's Brady. That's Gretzky. These are the greats. These are the legends. It means something, that name GOAT. I'll never forget it. 10 years old, when I moved here, that name meant something to me. It represented excellence, a standard, something that left a legacy that stretched beyond time. When I think back to those days as I got here, I can't help but think back to some of the coaches and some of the lessons that I learned here at Groesbeck that I've pulled from often. I think back, I see Coach Turbo over there. I don't know if you remember Coach Turbo, that middle school, the old middle school. Oh yeah. I remember running around that old track with you, starting the track days and starting to learn exercise, and you guys starting to push me in the gym and started to understand what hard work meant. I still remember. Coach Allison, I remember Coach Allison. You guys may not know this. Coach Allison at one point got up with me every morning at 5 a.m. and would meet me at the gym. I think you remember Coach Sloan. He would meet me at the gym at 5 a.m. He didn't have to do that. That started to create the discipline in me that I would pull from later to become a champion. Coach Sloan and Duncan and Gray and Kilman pushing me during practices, making sure I understood what it meant to work hard and earn it. I remember Coach LA, young Coach LA, coming through and working with us freshmen. And I remember him building immense confidence in us because of how much he believed in us and how much fun he had with us. Coach Cottrell showed me examples of what it meant to be a leader, hold that air in a room, to instill standards of what excellence looked like. And man, Coach Harris, many of you guys know I was so connected to Coach Harris, my position coach, I'll never forget the story. One day after practice, he actually drove me home. I don't know if some of you guys know this. He drove me home, but little did he know, we didn't even have a house. We actually lived in the office building that my parents were building here in Groesbeck. We actually lived in the office building. We didn't have a house when I first moved here. I remember he dropped me off, and he dropped me off in the alleyway somewhere. He was like, where does this kid even live? And he became a father figure. And man, he saw within me a heart of a champion before I could myself. He pushed me while allowing me space to create and discover what leadership would mean and become in my life, not just on the football field. His impact and many other coaches and classroom teachers are still with me today. I pull from these lessons. They matter. They always will, infinitely. So now I want to share a little bit of my story with you from that moment, the impact that all these coaches and teachers that you all have, like he said, that you all have. You don't know what spark you're leaving in someone that stays with them. It stayed with me 20 years. I'm here with you telling you 20 years. I still pull from my teachers. You matter so much to the future. Now, many of you guys that don't know, what's happened, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my story today so you can kind of understand what's happened since I've left Groesbeck and some of the lessons that I've learned along the way that maybe today you could pull from as you move along in your career and you move along in the school year. Maybe some of these lessons I've learned along the way, they will resonate. I remember before I left Groesbeck, I remember my parents always had a phrase, my dad in particular. He said, son, pay now, play later. Pay now, play later. Most people want to play early in life and they're paying most of their life. It resonated with me because I remember in high school, many kids were, a lot of times often could get sucked into the wrong things. And that kept me focused. And I took that with me as I moved along into college, that pay now, play later mentality. I decided because of that, instead of going to a small school, was recruited by Ivy League. I took visits to Princeton and Harvard. I actually went to the schools. My dad wanted me to go Ivy League, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go a harder path. I'm actually gonna walk on. I'm gonna walk on somewhere. Had a bad injury that senior year. Didn't shake out the way that I wanted to. But man, God is divine, isn't it? Happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. I was given those challenges and that adversity because I needed to become something new. It was creating what I needed to become. Walked on to UNT, and because I was a walk-on, because I chose that path, I had to fight a little bit more. I had to earn my spot. I had to work harder than everyone else in the gym. I had to get up earlier. I had to be that much more disciplined. I had to become the obvious choice to go earn a scholarship. I remember my freshman redshirt year, I was thriving. I was 225 pounds. I was running a 4.6. I was benching 400 something pounds. I was turning into an athlete. I then got the call to get on the field. I got cut on a kickoff. I was running down full speed, about to earn my spot. The next year I was projected to actually start. They were on the verge of giving me my scholarship. Someone came out of nowhere, cut me illegally, flipped over, hip and pelvis came out of alignment. My sciatic nerve got jacked up. I couldn't even walk. I was seeing a specialist for months, 3-4 months was seeing a specialist, excruciating pain coming up my pelvis. It's as real as it gets. My dream, as many of the coaches know, was, man, I wanted to go make it. My dream was to go to the NFL. That was what I was holding on to, and then in that moment I knew, my dad always said, son, you're gonna have to have a brain, because what if it doesn't work out? What if you get hurt? It happened. I had to walk into the coach's office. I sat down with Todd Dodge, who many of you guys know that name. Todd Dodge ran South Lake Carroll for many years, legendary high school football coach of South Lake. He became UNT's football coach. Sat down in the office with Todd Dodge, looked at him in the eyes, tears just pouring down my eyes, realizing that dream was over, and I had to walk away from the game. When that dream got shattered, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. All my life as a Groesbeck GOAT, it was all about discipline. It was all about, hey, I wanted to make it to the next level, and now it was gone. I remember getting sucked into the wrong things, to the wrong crowd. I remember my mom writing me a letter in college saying, we didn't raise our son to grow up this way. She sent me a personal letter. When I got that letter, I said, okay, I better act right. It's time to get my stuff in line. It's time to get focused. They didn't raise me to throw it all away. And in that moment at 20 years old, when I found myself in a lost position, my dad said, when that light bulb switch turns on, you're gonna be unstoppable. I ended up getting an opportunity at an LA Fitness sports club, if you guys have heard of it. LA Fitness is a multi-billion-dollar fitness chain across the country. I started with them at 21 years old. and my dream of the NFL shattered. I said, I'm gonna take on and I'm gonna go down this path. I then learned fitness sales. I loved the gym, forged from working with these coaches back when I was young as a goat. I loved the gym. I loved what it did. I loved the energy that it gave me. I loved working with my friends. I ended up getting really good at transforming people's lives, saving a lot of lives, turning Denton LA Fitness Sports Club into the top training facility in the country. I had 18 trainers. We were transforming people left and right, helping them lose weight, helping them change their life. And at 24 years old, I became the youngest vice president for LA Fitness. Took off fast, traveled around the country, ran multiple states, ran the west coast of Florida, went to Michigan, went to Ohio, was able to travel all over the world with LA Fitness. And at the beginning of LA Fitness, though, a lesson that I learned here, I was still in school. I was doing the wrong things. And when I got the opportunity and they said, we're gonna give you this sports club, I called my parents. And I said, Mom and Dad, I think I'm gonna drop out of school. I think I'm gonna go all into this thing. Oh, it was against conventional wisdom, that's for sure. But that was the path that I needed to take at that time because I wasn't focused on school. And I ended up going all in at LA Fitness at the time at 20 years old, ended up taking off and had a great career there. Once again, I was in a crossroads, 7-8 years into LA Fitness, becoming a regional vice president, and I ended up getting an opportunity to come work in the roofing space. Now, if you would have told me back in the day that I would be swinging a hammer and knowing what a roof was, there's no possible way I would have told you I would have been in roofing, right? So my mentor in LA Fitness started a roofing company in Dallas. I ended up selling all my stuff in Florida after building my career in the fitness space to the top of the game in the fitness world as a regional vice president, running all the west coast of Florida for LA Fitness. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna sell all my stuff. I'm gonna burn it to the ground and I'm gonna go start in this roofing thing because I see the potential. And I say this, the lesson that I have here is plan B, plan C only distracts you from plan A. It's very real. Distractions will take you away from actually achieving your goal. Whatever you want to achieve, you need to take that plan B and plan C and throw it away. Because when you only have plan A, if you hear back in the day, the warriors where they would lead an army into battle, you know, they would burn the ships. They would just burn the ships and say, we're taking over the island no matter what. We're gonna win and take it over, we're gonna die. And it puts you in a mentality that you're gonna do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. So once again, from LA Fitness, many people thought it was crazy when I said, I'm gonna just throw that all away and I'm gonna go start in roofing, and that's what I did. I went all in at the very bottom, started knocking doors in Dallas, Texas, started figuring it out and started taking what I learned in sales and fitness into roofing. Quickly, we started to rise in the roofing space in Dallas, which we deal with hailstorms, we deal with, hurricanes, we deal with catastrophes all around the country. I was a part of Hurricane Ian on the ground in Florida. When that devastating hurricane hit, took a lot of lives. I was a first responder on the ground as the hurricane came over us, and going into the neighborhoods where homes were flooded in, homeowners crying in tears, and helping as much as we could. That's what we deal with, is storm catastrophes all around the country, dealing with insurance and helping homeowners. Quickly, we rose the organization, ended up working for a couple of the Cowboys players, Brady James, the ex-middle linebacker of the Cowboys, and just helped a lot of people in Dallas. Ended up having the opportunity, as you guys heard, to start a show. If you guys watch HGTV at all, the show No Demo Reno, I was actually the contractor on the show, helped start that and launch it. It's on season 3 now. COVID hit, so it stopped us. That's the only reason I walked away from the show, because I was starting at the time my bodybuilding career. So as we grew the organization, I ended up also getting back into what was my love with these coaches. When that dream shattered to go to the NFL, I didn't have something that I was pushing myself in internally. And I found it in bodybuilding, and I found it in that space, and started competing at a very high level. Ended up winning the overall universe, turning pro, getting invited by Arnold Schwarzenegger to represent 10 of the US athletes at his show, went on to 2 Olympias, and had an amazing career in bodybuilding. And I pulled oftentimes from what I learned here as a Groesbeck GOAT. So now, with Linear Roofing 10 years in, we transacted with private equity. We are now the largest roofing platform in the country, have 8 roofing brands across the country. It's called Strong House Solutions. And we're now spearheading the space of the roofing industry. And so many lessons I learned along the way, but the one that stood out the most is outwork them, no plan B, no plan C. It only distracts you from that plan A. Now, here in the present, with you now, it's a gift. Time is but an illusion. The now is all there really is. The present moment, a true gift, a miracle in itself. The past and the future. I'm going to give you a couple of hacks today for your journey. The past and the future, you're pulling them into the now, into your conscious mind right now. Oftentimes, that's what causes depression or anxiety. You're pulling in from the past traumas or negative experiences when we should just be able to let them go. Or you're creating something in your mind that hasn't even happened yet or may not even happen yet to cause anxiety. When you can let go of those things and realize that it's just about being present with the people with you and exuding love and being in that heart space, it solves a lot of things. And it dissolves a lot of issues we cause ourselves to have. A superpower that I've often pulled from along the journey, becoming an Olympian, okay? Going against the top competitors in the world in that sport. Forging businesses across the last 17 years. A superpower I've pulled from that we all can pull from at times whenever we feel low or we're in slumps or funks, because we all get there. We're all hit with adversity, right? No one's immune to it. A superpower is tapping into that grateful frequency. So oftentimes, if I find myself facing something, I would be able to ground myself in the morning and just think about and list in my mind all of the things I'm grateful for. Heck, I have 2 kids now, 6-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. So grateful, so blessed. And when you start thinking about all those things around you that you're so grateful for, it's very hard to think about negative things. It's very hard to be sucked into that. And it truly is a superpower if you can tap into it. In the morning, you can utilize music, dancing, singing, exercise as you think about these blessings in your life. This hack will get you a lot further when life hits you hard, and it will hit you hard. They're all tests. Never give in. The best way, in my opinion, to show the kids of the future as leaders the way is by the example, by your example, because they're watching. Because I was watching. I was watching. I have a challenge for each of you today. Who are you going to spark this year? Whose lives will you impact this year due to you being present, aware, intentional on how impactful your role truly plays in these kids' lives? As teachers, coaches, staff, think right here and now, who will be better this year, 2025, because of your spark? Who's it gonna be? We're all connected. Our society oftentimes looks to divide and promote fear. When facing crossroads, maybe what seems like a difficult stretch, remember, fear is not the answer. Love is the key to all. When you choose to love everyone as your brother, your sister, your family, you realize it's all a mirror reflected back at you. You show up differently, and it's all happening because of you. The choices become clear within. Love never fails, it always prevails. The theme this year was be a goat, right? To be a goat. How will you be a goat this year? I want you to imagine this. Imagine if the school, principal, superintendent, the staff, they did a project, right? And that project was this. They were gonna record you. Every second of this year, you were gonna be on video, on film. I want you to imagine that. Where your loved ones were gonna see it, the future teachers were gonna see it, your kids were gonna see it. How would you actually show up? How would you actually prepare? How would you represent your name? Think about that. Do that. Be that. A simple exercise I've used in many organizations that I've grown. I work with the leaders in our platform now. Largest, as I said, residential roofing platform of its kind in the country. I work with all the leaders, I develop the leaders, and oftentimes an exercise I do with the leaders, because all of you are leaders, true leaders, true leaders. An exercise I often have done with them that has sparked them has been just the simplicity of the add and take away exercise. Meaning, oftentimes you already know what you need to add or take away from your routine or your habits to become the best version of yourself. You don't have to wait for someone else to come tell you. It's more effective when it actually comes from you. You can self-assess. So my challenge today to be a goat, to represent what it means to be a Groesbeck goat, do that before you start the year. Think about like what it is that you need to add to your daily routine to make you that much better, to make you show up that much stronger, to be that much more present for the kids. What do you need to take away that's not serving you? Because as I said, distractions, things that aren't serving you, they just take away from being the best version of yourself. It's a simple thing. But man, when you start doing that month in, month out, then all of a sudden you create something completely different. It's worked. It's worked for me. I got a little something for you guys today. It came to me 2 weeks ago. Miss Ensminger, she called me about this, and this came to me 2 weeks ago, but I'd like to announce, and it's not official because I got to work with the staff on it. I got to work with the powers that be on it, but I'd like to announce that I'm going to donate and start an inaugural GOAT Award for the school. A student will be chosen, a senior student will be chosen as the GOAT of the year, and I'm gonna donate $25,000 $25,000 to that student to either go to the school of their choice or start a business of their choice. And that student that's chosen, I'm gonna come back, spend time with them, talk to them about their plans, give them any insight that I could give them, and help along the way. So I'm gonna work with the staff on that, and we're gonna figure that thing out, but that's what I am going to look to give back to Groesbeck, because it's meant so much to me. Yeah. I'd like you all to stand. I'd like you all to stand real quick. Okay, if you're not by someone, get by someone, because I want you to lock hands.
I want us all to feel each other right now, each other's energy, the frequency in the room, as we start this 2025 school year off right. Let it sink in, any lessons that you've heard today. And I want you to think about now that version of yourself. The highest version, the greatest potential version that may be dormant. That most loving version, caring, capable. Envision that version in your head. What do they look like? Hold it in your heart. Imagine the possibilities, the impact you will have on the next generation of goats that walk through this school system. And repeat after me.